Portions of today's program originally aired on June 30th.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson.
When I met you, I had my daughter in tow, and this show, I have my daughter in tow because she decided to wake up from her nap.
Motherhood is both amazing and difficult at the same time. The Passport Mommy, Michelle Jerson, is here to share in your journey.
It's amazing. It really is, just watching them grow and see how much change and how much they learn just without the filters around them as you get older.
Motherhood is a journey that can take you off the beaten path. Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy, is here to help you navigate.
You are awesome.
Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
So good to be back. I'm back from maternity leave. I have a newborn. He is a little over a month right now. His name is Zachary, and it's been a great time with him so far, and I look forward to just sharing the journey with you, with Zachary, with my daughter Eden, who is now a little over 2 years old. And we have a new name for the show. It is now Passport Mommy. So I'm here with you. We're going to talk about travel topics as it relates to family, and we're going to continue the show as it's been all other kinds of topics that help mom and parents out. And to kick off the show, I have with me Derek Frank. He is an artist relations manager for KHS America and represents Honer USA, Lanakai ukuleles, Hercules stands, and H. Jimenez string instruments. His role with the company is to work with influential artists on expanding the awareness and the perception of the brands he represents. He's also very active with the education and the marketing aspects of those brands. And I'm thrilled to have Derek on the show with me today because I met Derek and his team at the New York Toy Fair a few months ago. And I was so excited to see all of the wonderful instruments that he had on display. And we just got into such a conversation about the importance of music education on children. Derek, thank you for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Michelle. It's good to talk to you, and congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think when I saw you, I was a bit pregnant. And so I'm glad that, yes, the baby's here. Don't get me wrong. Being pregnant's great. But, I never bought into, oh, it's so wonderful. Every woman loves being pregnant. So anyway, let's move on. So tell me a little bit about what you do with KHS America.
Yeah, so I'm an artist relations manager for the brands you mentioned, Honer, Lanakai, Hercules, and H. Jimenez. And that role is, it takes on a lot of different aspects that most people don't think of. You think of course, working with the famous artists, and our rosters include anybody from Steven Tyler to Ozzy Osbourne, down to music educators. But it's not all about just spending time at concerts and hanging out. A lot of it is using market strategy and trying to figure out how to best use their strengths with ours to increase our brand presence. And then, of course, there's also a lot of the behind-the-scenes maintenance of making sure our orders are taken care of, going out to them correctly. So there's a lot of parts of my job that aren't the glamorous staying at concerts and hanging out and having fun, but that you have to do and are the necessary pieces to make sure everything fits together.
Right. Absolutely. Because when I met you, you said you were going on a cruise and you were doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I thought, wow, how can I get this gig?
Right. But yeah, I think I had just gotten back from Winter NAMM in California, which is the biggest trade show for music instruments. And then I was at New York, and then I was going on the Joe Bonamassa cruise that we sponsored with Honer. So yeah, it was a crazy month.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about, you gave me a ukulele when I visited the booth, which I was so thrilled with because my daughter has wanted to, well, I don't know if she's wanted to learn the ukulele, but she loves seeing them when she takes her music classes. And also she's been enjoying her first guitar and a drum pad. So tell me about these instruments that you represent.
Yeah, so Lanakai in particular, when you showed interest in that, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity because my background is in music education. I was a music education major, and it wasn't until later on in life that I decided to go in more in the private sector. But with Lanakai, Lanakai was really one of the first ukulele brands to hit the big ukulele boom. And they were the number one for a long time. And then the company kind of went through some mergers and went through some changes. And really started to dip quite a bit. And we brought in a new product manager, Mr. Rock Klauser, and Rock completely changed the whole line, revamped it, and now we're climbing back to the top. But the whole strategy with Lanakai is real instruments for real musicians, where most companies still really go after the tiki and beach vibe of the ukulele, which is great, but we're really going for those touring musicians, those teachers, those people that depend on this instrument and use it seriously for their income and their living, and they need a dependable instrument that's quality built and that is not just the toy and the beach thing. You know, the guitar was invented in Spain, but you don't see Spanish flags on them anymore. So it's kind of time to move away from Hawaii and beaches and make this a real serious instrument. So that was our whole goal with that. And when with you, it made sense because the education side is a huge thing for us, where schools always use recorders and things to help children learn. Now they're starting to morph into more fun instruments, where ukulele is that perfect instrument because it's easier to push down the strings. It only takes 1 or 2 fingers to make most of the chords. So it's a lot faster for children to learn, and it doesn't take nearly the dexterity of a guitar. And so it's more encouraging for them.
Right. Absolutely. I remember the recorder when I was that age, and I thought, who really plays the recorder moving forward? Like, this is a cool instrument to learn on, but then what?
Yeah, exactly. And we make recorders for Hohner, but they're definitely one of those instruments that's really starting to taper off because there's a lot more options now.
So you have a mission statement with KHS, and the reason why, because at the Toy Fair, you were next to another booth that also had ukuleles, but I really liked talking with you because, like you said, there was so much more to it than just representing these artists and the instruments.
Correct. Yeah, and our whole company, we own, or we're part of 20 different musical instrument brands, everything from Jupiter Band Instruments, which is one of the largest horn manufacturers, to Mapex and Sonar drums, and then, of course, the brands I represent. So the company is really about community. We work with VH1 Save the Music. We do a lot of donations to schools and drum corps and colleges, basically just doing everything we can to not only sell our products, but also to give back to the community and make sure that music education is still a growing thing and not the thing that always gets cut from schools.
Which is extremely frustrating to hear because I know growing up, it had such a huge impact on me and not only my learning, but my focus. And it's just, and to this day, music plays such a big part of my life, and I try to bring it into my daughters and now my sons as well.
Absolutely. And that's why we have our Hohner Kids line, which is why we were at Toy Fair, because we want quality instruments that are actually tuned. There's so many companies out there that have what we call in the industry musical instrument shaped objects, which they look like an instrument, but they're not tuned. They're just a cheap imitation. We want children, even at a young age, that if they're going to play like a set of bells or a glockenspiel or a drum, that it has real tone, it has real pitch. So they're developing that ear and that feel, even when they think they're just playing. And
I think that is what's really important. So tell me a little bit more about your mission statement. So you connect with the musician with their personal motivations and values.
So our main part of our statement is the musician, the music educator, the music retailer, our shareholders, and our employees. And KHS really is all about that. It's not just a company that talks about it. I actually was a touring musician, and when I got the opportunity to come to the company, I was thinking, maybe this will be a 6-month thing. I won't like it, and I'll go back on the road. And I fell in love with the company, and now I've been here for over 2 years with no desire to go back on the road and be a touring musician. But the fact that we stand behind not only the educators that are using our product, but also the retailers that are the ones that are selling and servicing these products, it's a testament to what the company is truly about. A lot of companies are going to selling direct on Amazon and eBay. We don't do that. We rely on our dealers and our brick and mortars to still sell those products and be able to make that income for them as well.
Right, which is great because then it makes them want to work with you, and it shares the values all throughout the company, and it transforms into all the people who are selling the instruments. So I want to talk to you further. I want to talk to you more about the education and how that's so important for children, and just more of the instruments that you work with, that if somebody's looking for their first instrument for their child, or not necessarily their first, but maybe they are an older child and they're looking to take on a music class of some sort. So we're going to speak to you more after the break, but tell me, where can people go for more information?
If you look up KHS America, you can find all of our different brands, and that will give you links to all of our different sites. We also have Facebook pages for KHS America. We're actually based right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in Mount Juliet, which is a great destination. So if anybody wants more info, we can get on the website, and it'll get you links to that, or they can contact you, and you can get them in touch with me. I love actually directly talking to consumers. Even though I'm an artist relations manager, my focus is still in that customer service world and making sure everybody that deals with our company has the best experience they can.
I think you have the best job going for you right now. We're talking with Derek Frank from KHS Music. More coming up in a few. I'm Michelle Jerson. You're listening to Passport Mommy.
Portions of today's program originally aired on June 30th.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Talking with Derek Frank from KHS Music. It's been so much fun talking with Derek because we've been talking about all of the brands that he represents, the instruments, and how important it is for teaching children music. Derek, thanks again for joining me today. So we were talking about the importance of music education. And, I took my daughter to Music Together classes when she was maybe 6 months old. And for a good year or so, I thought, is this really doing anything? Is she really absorbing anything? And then I saw the results and I knew it. Absolutely. And I still see how important music is to her in her life.
If you make it fun for the kids, it's not work. But music studies have proven how much it improves brain functioning, how there's better test scores, better social functioning. Plus, it's an amazing outlet to have your kids busy. There's so many choices and so many video games and TV shows and sports. But music is the thing that you can keep forever. You don't have to worry about if your knees fail because you played too much football or, you can't play volleyball anymore because there's no options. You can always do music.
Yeah, I used to play piano. I wish I was better at it now, but I grew up playing piano and I sang. And even just last night, I was so stressed out. And just for old time's sake, I went through Pandora, my Broadway show tunes, and any other song I felt like, and just belted on the top of my lungs. And I thought, you know what? If that's not something that I had picked up in high school or junior high, I wouldn't have this with me today.
I still have friends that I've made in grade school because of music. I was one that was just super involved, and my parents never pushed me or forced it, but they encouraged whenever I wanted to do it. But those relationships that I built through all these years are part of the reason that I've got this amazing job. Mm-hmm. I got the in because of a former college professor.
Wow. Yeah. And it really is just about your foundation and building it as you grow up. So tell me a little bit more about the brands that you work with and what they're doing to increase education when it comes to music.
Yeah, so all of our brands are really big with education. Mine specifically, Honer, we send out thousands and thousands of free harmonicas to students, and we do clinics all across the country. One of our biggest ones is called Harmona Kids, and it's hosted by a gentleman named Gary Allegretto. Gary is an amazing Honer harmonica player. He's been an artist with us for years and years and years, and he goes out and works with underprivileged kids in the prison system, foster system, and he gives them all harmonicas and teaches them to play and just talks about some life lessons. We also go to schools and do giveaways. We just did Make Music Day this past Friday and gave out over 5,000 harmonicas across the country for free to people in cities all over. And then you have Lanakai, we just launched a program for educators where they can get all Lanakai ukuleles in their classroom, and they can get a very discounted rate to help the school, help them, and make sure that they have a quality instrument, because Lanakai are lifetime warranty on all their instruments. And then with HMNS, stringed instruments, more in the Latin world, that community and the Latin community and the Hispanic community is getting so much stronger, and they're so good at social media and networking, where their schools are starting to build up mariachi programs, and they're doing festivals and contests. And HMNS really has a niche where we're the only company that makes these instruments in this level, like upper student to pro level. And because of that, we're able to support all of these contests and have a really good presence. And we also get to donate a lot of instruments to them, keeping their heritage alive while also enriching music education and making them have a tool that they can use in the future.
Which is incredible. And again, people don't realize, I feel like sometimes, how important music is. And when I hear that all these after-school programs are being cut, including music or during school programs, it's just devastating. What can people do to voice their opinions and to make sure that their programs are not cut?
Call your senators, your congressmen, call anybody that is a public official, and just stress how important this is. It's hard for me to see schools where they'll build a brand new football stadium or a brand new baseball stadium, and then they'll cut a music program where, yeah, it's great to have these extracurricular activities, but music is a core thing. And to lose staff members and to lose an opportunity for a child to be able to play music and have an outlet and have a safe space, it really breaks my heart. Also, you can contact companies like VH1 that are doing VH1 Saves the Music. You can donate where they work with schools and help them get instruments for underprivileged kids. So really, just stay involved. If you don't know what to do, ask your local band director or choir director how you can help.
Great advice. So tell me real quickly, Derek, again, where can people go for more information on KHS and all of the instruments that you work with and all of the companies?
Go to our website. It's khs-america.com. That will have links to all of our different brands. And again, if you really want to get a hold of me, you can send me an email or call me. I'm always accessible. I love to talk to anybody that wants to know more information. And I love hearing ideas. If there's a school that is by you that really needs some help with the program, let me know. Let's see what we can do to help them out.
Derek Frank, I will always be a fan of you, your company, music, and I'm looking forward to my daughter learning the ukulele, and I'm sure we'll be calling you for some lessons soon. Coming up next, we are going to talk with a grandma who started her own business late in her career, or later in her career, and we'll find out what made her start it and what she's doing now. I'm Michelle Jerson, and you're listening to Passport Mommy.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show. And I was thrilled when Cara Carrero reached back out to me, because I met Cara last year at an event, and she was such an inspiration in the short time that I spoke with her. She was, I believe, homeschooling her kids at the time. I'm not sure. I know she was doing something phenomenal at the time. Now she's homeschooling them. She has 4 kids, ages 6, 4, 2, and 2 months. She is an author and advocate for positive, grace-filled parenting. She is a homeschooler to her 4 children living in Boston and believes in creative educational approaches to help kids dive deeper into a rich learning experience. Cara, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me a little bit about your background and why you decided to homeschool.
My degree is in secondary education. So I was a high school teacher for a while, and I taught at a college preparatory school. And so we went in and went to all of our different feeder schools and told them that if they didn't know, that if their students didn't know something by a certain time period, then they wouldn't be prepared for college. So while I was teaching secondary, I was also teaching teachers of younger kids how to prepare them. So as we went along, whenever I was staying home with the kids, it just kind of made a little bit more sense to go ahead and bring them home. My oldest, she actually went to a really great private school, and we loved her teacher. She even had the same teacher for 2 years. But like the door just kind of opened up whenever I got pregnant with our fourth, and we kind of just took the plunge in December and pulled her out mid-year. And it's kind of been this eye-opening, blossoming experience where we kind of get to spend more time together as a family, and we get to do different creative approaches versus like the road approach to education, just point A to point B. There's depth. And it's just been this amazing experience to go from being in the classroom to being where the world is the classroom. And so I'm kind of a student again as well.
Yeah, that is so neat. But I have to ask, how do you do this with having 4 kids and especially a newborn who's 2 months old?
I think that every day I just wake up and I kind of go where my kids take me. Of course, there is structure, but to some extent, whenever you have 4 kids under the age of 7, you have to go with the flow. So that's where like grace-filled parenting is also grace-filled homeschooling, like giving myself some grace to say things don't have to be perfect today. We can fill in the gaps tomorrow, and every day is a new day.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that you do, just like set out a sample day of what you do when it comes to homeschooling, because you took it on the road recently also?
We did take it on the road. So actually that was our number one reason why we went ahead and took the plunge to pull our oldest from school, is we had this opportunity to go on a 7-week trip. And so we live in Boston. My parents and some of my family live in Oklahoma. And so my mom flew out to Boston, and we did like this northern route through Vermont and Niagara Falls, through Ohio, Indiana, Missouri to Oklahoma. And then my husband flew out after 5 weeks of that. And we did 2 weeks back through the southern route. And we were learning about the Revolutionary War, so we stopped at Thomas Jefferson's house, which is Monticello. We stopped at George Washington's house, which is Mount Vernon, and we did a week in Philadelphia. And so we kind of just made all of this come to life on the road. But before we left for that, we actually started doing a little bit of structure. So again, we believe in like this grace-filled day by day kind of just go with the flow, but we also have structures that we can move around throughout the day. So my favorite is that we do the pickup playlist. And what a lot of moms, I feel like, don't talk about, especially when they're homeschooling, is how to keep the house in order.
Or even when you're not homeschooling, with the 5 minutes that your toddler or any age child is home.
Exactly. And so I created this thing called the Pickup Playlist, where every single person in the family picks a song that they really love, and we add it to an Amazon playlist. Because if you have Prime, then it's free, and so it's just was like this easy thing that we could take with us anywhere. And so even while we were on the road, picking up a hotel room or picking up my parents' house or whatever, and it could be in the morning or the middle of the day, whenever we needed like a shift to our day or to reset, then we do the Pickup Playlist, and it reframed my kids' minds because it started showing them that picking up wasn't indefinite. Because if my house is a mess, I'm like, we need to pick this place up. This is driving me crazy and I can't think.
Right.
But if they know that everybody has a song that they really like, then they're more likely to enjoy it. But then also knowing that there's an end. So 20 minutes and we're done. We don't have to pick up any more that day.
Oh, that's great.
So it just really helped kind of reframe like keeping some order and organization. So we started doing little routines like that they don't necessarily have to be in the morning or they don't have to be at lunch, that they can kind of give some flexibility to our day, but our kids know that these are the things that are expected of them at different points throughout the day.
Right. So I have to ask, because I know this is probably the number one question that comes up when somebody's thinking about homeschooling is the socialization. So do you feel that they are missing out on socializing with other children, or do you provide outlets for that as well?
Well, I have multiple opinions and views on this, and this is also coming from my background of being in education. And actually, my parents were elementary PE teachers as well.
Okay.
So I do provide outlets to that. So we have different things that we do within our community. There's actually about an hour west of Boston, there's something called Old Sturbridge Village, that it's like a living museum type of thing set in the 1830s. And they have homeschool classes that you can pay $5 for to go learn herbalism from the 1830s and different things like that. And they're in little small classroom settings with other kids. So like we do things like that. We're also thinking about doing like a little co-op with different people that are similar age ranges. And just finding different opportunities that are in our area. But my personal belief on socialization is that sitting in a classroom with all these kids that are similar ages, while it gives them peers, it doesn't give them true socialization, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That socialization and teaching socialization to our kids is getting them out into the real world. It's letting them learn from, we have 80-year-old neighbors, so it's learning to cook from our 80-year-old neighbor. It's learning to garden with our 40-year-old neighbor, or it's learning how to play a fun game that grandma likes. It's learning, it's sitting down and reading a book with a teenager. So there's so much more to socialization, in my opinion, than just peer-to-peer that's at the exact same level. But It's learning to be able to have communication and share life with all ages.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. And, you know, obviously this isn't homeschooling, but the Montessori model where they mix a bunch of ages together. And some people think, oh, that might not be good because my daughter is of a certain age and she's going to fall behind, but it's not really comparing to what you just said, where they're learning from different age people. But I feel like being mixed is preferable. And when you do take them on the road and you're traveling, I just had this conversation with my friend Marshall on the air last week, and we were talking about traveling with young ones and how beneficial it is, because they pick up so much when you take them out of their zone of where we are just day in and day out.
Absolutely. You kind of pop that bubble, so to speak, and everything just kind of floods in. So my 4-year-old can tell you probably just as much about the American Revolution as my 6-year-old, but I wasn't directly teaching her. But then the other thing is they feed off of each other. So they look at things in totally different aspects. We actually have basically an urban farm in our backyard, this giant garden, and so we're doing life sciences and learning all about how plants grow and how to harvest and even how to use things medicinally. And, you know, one of my kids is so process-oriented, like very engineer-like, and the other one is like super flowery, would be a great hippie, you know. Right. And so they approach things so differently, and especially from their ages as well, that I feel like it gives them a richer education.
Yes, I agree. I mean, it's what you said about the farming. And you also live, being in Boston, you're in a modest sized apartment. I just moved from a 575 square foot apartment when I had my second child, but you have 4 kids and you're in a 900 square foot apartment. So that also teaches really a lot just on how to live in certain spaces. And then to be able to have that urban farm outside your doorstep, that's amazing.
It's such a blessing. So many times I feel the weight wanting to call it a curse, But I really do see the blessing of being in a small space because you're forced to be a really tight-knit family. You're forced to be each other's advocates and to live more in peace and to live a more positive life together instead of always being at each other's throat. You can't escape each other.
Right, right. Well, you really have to like each other or learn to like each other in that space because I found that out real soon. But I will tell you that we moved from that very small space to a very big house that we're renting right now. And so many days, I wish I was in that small space, especially when you spend every free second you have cleaning. There's no such thing as 20 minutes a day.
It's so true. However, we do divide and conquer, usually with the 20 minutes. So, like, everybody gets a room and everybody kind of does their thing. And even I'm working, so I feel like that makes a big difference, kids seeing what you do. So that goes, sorry, tangent for you, but that goes with education, but it goes with cleaning and parenting, and like they just feed so much off of understanding how you operate and how you think and what you do, and they're just little sponges.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Saying that they're sponges are so correct. They absorb every single thing. And I'm noticing that from the language to the habits to everything. Where can people go for more information? Tell me a little bit about your websites.
So I have a few. My main website is just caracarrero.com, Karacarrero. But it's called Extremely Good Parenting, and the premise of it is that great parents fail, but they learn from their mistakes. So again, like grace-filled parenting. And that's mainly like the day-to-day stuff, the like question and answer, how can I make it through? How can I do simple shifts of saying no less and reframing situations and dealing with discipline, because some of my background is in adolescent development. But then a newer site that I've been doing is Board Games for Learning, and it is for just regular parents, but also for teachers and homeschoolers to take board games, puzzles, different play-based activities and make learning meaningful. Ultimately, if you look at research, kids learn more meaningfully and 7 times faster whenever they learn through play. So we started that in November, and we're kind of watching it blossom and grow as it also helps our kids learn.
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I was on your website and I look forward to reading more about it. And there really is so much. My girlfriend and her husband just opened a board game cafe. And I think they're so important, board games, when it comes to learning, and it gets them off the phone. And there is just so much that can be learned. Cara, thank you so much for joining me again today. Again, it's caracarrero.com. It's bostonkidfriendly.com. And then, as you were saying, the board game website as well. Tell me again the name of that website.
That was boardgamesforlearning.com.
Boardgamesforlearning.com. Great. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in a few days. It's Cara Carrero. I'm Michelle Jerson. You're listening to Passport Mommy.
Motherhood is a journey. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
Welcome back to the show, and I'm excited to have with me Diana Morrison from Massage Envy. As I say Massage Envy, I think, oh my gosh, how much I could use a massage right now. But it's so much more what they do there besides massages. They do facials, they treat skin conditions, and she's here to talk to us about a recent survey that was done in Phoenix about how acne affects people of all ages. Hi, Diana.
Absolutely. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for having me join you today.
Tell me a little bit about this survey that was done.
Absolutely. So we know that acne is the most common skin condition in the United States, and over 50 million people experience acne. So we conducted a survey of over 2,500 people nationally to ask them about their emotional tolls that are related to having acne. And we had some really great respondents, specifically from the Phoenix area, to learn more about locally in our community what is going on with those who are experiencing acne. We know that acne sufferers are 3 times as likely than the average American to feel embarrassed about their skin. And certainly in Phoenix, that was definitely shared. Phoenix respondents actually feel slightly more negative in regards to the acne and how it appears on their skin, feeling frustrated, stressed, and embarrassed when dealing with this condition.
Yeah, I completely understand, because even, when you're a child, you're worried about it because you're worried about how others view you. And even as an adult, I imagine even more so sometimes, because as a child, you could say, oh, this is normal for this age, but as an adult, not so much. So at what age should we start thinking about adopting a skin regime to help with this?
It's a really great question, and absolutely skincare concerns can show up even in young adults. And really, once you start to see a skin issue or a concern is when you should start to address it. So you're never too young to start to adopt a good routine. And even in adolescence, we'll see small conditions, breakouts, congestion in the skin, things like that. And we can start simply with an easy regimen to help to keep their skin clear. And that really is a great foundation to build upon as we grow up, and maybe we adjust our skincare regimens and address those conditions that are most relevant to us as we age.
So what are some treatments, and how can they be personalized to our own needs? Because I know some people have different, dry skin, oily skin, and all kinds of issues, whether it's acne or eczema or all kinds of things can run the gamut. So how do we know how to personalize it for us?
It's a really great point. There are so many different conditions that affect the skin. Of course, acne is the biggest one, but aging and sun damage, of course, here in Phoenix, we deal with that sun a lot, dryness, all of that. But what's really important is to recognize that going at it alone isn't always going to be the most successful. And a lot of people understand the value of meeting with a licensed professional. 40% of Phoenix residents agree that addressing skin issues is best done by professionals. And licensed estheticians at Massage Envy can provide customized treatments for each individual person. We have different types of facial services and advanced skincare treatments, and then of course our new Clear Skin Facial Series powered by Proactive, which is specifically for acne. And it gives the opportunity to meet with a licensed professional in the skincare industry who can consult with you on your skin conditions, customize a professional treatment, facial service to address your skin, and then also provide guidance on what products to use at home so that you can have great results in between treatments.
That's terrific. And I know that I have been guilty of not going and consulting, or I'll go for a facial and they'll tell me all these things that I should be doing for my skin. And then I go home and I do none of them, which now as I get older and I see the signs of the sun and just natural aging signs, I think, I should have gotten with the program years ago, but I guess it's never too late.
It's definitely never too late. And you're right that, Phoenix specifically is a really skincare savvy market. 62% of Phoenix residents believe that they use the right kind of products for their skin, and they're more likely to use specialty products to maintain their skin, specialty facial soaps and lotions, exfoliating products. But it is true that we don't always know what's going to be the most effective type of treatment. And specifically when you're really starting to look to see results and a condition like acne where it affects you in so many different ways, you don't want to be too aggressive. And so by finding someone who can provide you with that type of coaching and knowing exactly what's the right kind of way for me to treat it at home, and then getting that even professionally customized treatment within a Massage Envy location can really help to just do the best condition, and then build that confidence and hopefully fun in your skincare regimen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Diana Morrison. For more information, you can go to massageenvy.com/skincare/clear skin series. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day.